Greetings and salutations. We are. This is Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
You need to let me out then.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
I mean, there's me.
Okay. We're bringing you the next update in our ever-evolving Chinese army. This is some tanks for our Chinese bolt-action Second World War project, which is coming along quite nicely. We've got 2 platoons finished so far, command unit, some other stuff, and a armoured car. So now we get on to tanks, and these are Chinese tanks. Chinese tanks. They're actually Russian T26 tanks. If I just put them out so you can see them slightly better. Here they are. Standard T26s. I've got 3 of them for our Chinese army. Russia did supply China with a considerable amount of tanks, and this is a small group of them. They're in splinter pattern, camouflage, which was used more or less from Shanghai, just past the Battle of Nanking. Before then they usually used a sort of lighter colour, light grey. After then they started using the olive green, same splinter but with olive green, much lighter colours, because they were fighting in much more brighter terrain. These tanks are actually camouflaged to operate in more or less built up areas, which is hence the camouflage. So farms, stuff like that, buildings, houses. Over to you.
How's that camo actually going to camouflage anything? Because, it's not really going to help them much.
Yeah, it is actually. It's to break up the whole point of camouflage is either to make it hard to shoot at your tank, which means it to see the tank. It breaks up the outline of the tank, so you have a different colour on each corner of the tank. So if an aircraft or something flies over, then it's harder to actually make out the tank with shadows and stuff. That's basically what this particular camouflage pattern is for. It's
right.
To confuse the enemy, so if they're just glancing, they might just glance over the vehicle. Later war camouflage patterns, particularly in Northwest Europe, were entirely designed around hiding the tanks from aerial observation. It was nothing to do with camouflage on the ground, or very seldom anything to do with it. Some German tanks would have a different camouflage on the roof to the camouflage on the sides. Although if you paint that as a wargaming project, people would say, well, you didn't that far. But in reality, that's what they did. So from the sky, they would have the basically the road or whatever they were parked in painted on the roof. But side on, they would have lines and shadows. So if they were hiding in a built-up area, or they were hiding in buildings, in trees, then the lines on the camouflage will make it hard to tell the edges of the tank.
Right.
Human eyes are, because of predators, our eyes are designed to see shapes. So our eyes are designed for basically recognition of shapes. A human soldier would easily spot a tank. It's a big square thing with a turret. Therefore, it's a tank. It registers in your brain instantly. If you paint the edges the wrong colour, your brain might not recognise the actual colour or the actual tank itself.
I would.
Yeah, but you're not. Luckily, you're not back in the Second World War or today in the army. Because the T26s were the standard tank of the Russian army. A large amount of T26 was used by the Chinese. The Chinese also used German stuff. You've seen the German armoured car I had on last week. And the T26s were pretty much mainstay of the Chinese army at this point. I think about half the tanks were T26s, mixed in with quite a few Vickers. I think about 30 Vickers they had, I'm not sure. I might have to check it, but the T26s, they had several hundred of them. Pretty good tanks, armed with a 45mm anti-tank gun, which is a light anti-tank gun in the rules. So a little bit more high powered than the British 2-pounder, which I think was a 40mm anti-tank gun. Anything else?
I can't think of anything else.
No. Sadly for the Chinese, they lost most of their tanks before Nanking. There was a large tank battle just outside Nanking. The Chinese tried to... It was actually the largest tank battle in history until the next tank battle in history took place. They tried to take on the Japanese. The Japanese knew their tanks weren't really fit for it, so the Japanese did the logical thing, well, illogical thing, which was charge the Chinese tanks. Which worked. They won. They won the battle outside, and they took the city before the defenders had time to mount a defence. So it's
strategic.
Yes, a salmon always swims upstream. If you don't know what you're doing, keep going, keep doing something, because it keeps your enemy looking the other way and busy. It's not a bad tactic, and something which some people in the world today are quite good at. Sadly for us, most of our world leaders have never actually read a book, so yeah. Is that entirely in focus? Can you see all that?
Now you can.
There you can. That looks good. So there we have it. Again, I based them on pavements. I've explained this before, roads and pavements, because I just thought they were cool.
If you haven't seen the video, check it out.
Yeah. Check the video out. It's dead cool. And I've put the infantry next to it to give you an idea of scale and how they look in general. And I think this army is beginning to look really good.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't do Chinese, so I'm doing this as a project. It's going to be a large Chinese army to go up against both my Japanese forces and my Russian forces, and this is going to be a fun one. And here is the next part, and that's the end of this video.
So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, we'll answer them in a Q&A. That's everything from me, or both actually Q&A, specific.
Yeah.
That's everything from me. Bye.
Bye.